Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with a interesting format for my Zyuohger reviews. Not really that different in format, I guess, but this is going to be a mega review of episodes 40, 40, and 40, 40 twice. It was so good. No, it was honestly the worst. 40, 41, and 42. I'm not going to try to make this very long, even though it's a lot of episodes compared to normal. I'll try to keep it around the same length. You know how it is. But, quick, here's what happened. I decided to take basically a week off of Zyuohger reviews and double up the next week, which would have been 40 and 41, because I was behind on Power Rangers reviews for Ninja Steel and the movie stuff, because I didn't find it early. Everything came out on time for me, and so I wanted to get caught up so that when I can review things as they come out and not be behind. So I wanted to do that. Zyuohger was really boring and kind of stupid for 40, and I only really had about 3 minutes worth of content. So I thought, okay, double it up for next week. Then my source for watching Ryder and Sentai went down, so I was partly kind of happy because it was like vacation. Like, not from filming the videos. I actually think I enjoy filming the videos more than I do watching the shows. But anyway, so those went down. Now they're back. But it was 2 weeks of stuff for Zyuohger, so Zyuohger is going to be 3 episodes this week, and Zyuohger will be 2. But then after that, providing nothing happens, everything should be 1 episode a week, but I wanted to try to get ahead of it. Also, side note, if you hear any random, like, banging noises, my neighbors, like, coming up and down the stairs into their apartment, and I kept waiting for them to stop, and they're not doing it. I don't know if they're like, doing a drill, like, how fast can I get out of my apartment, but I don't know. So they just, that happens. So anyway, let's get this over with. So, 40, I have almost nothing to say about it. I actually did film a very short part of what was to be this last week's video of 41, which was like basically me trying to stretch out 3 minutes of content, and then I was going to segue it into future me talking about 41, but I decided to scrap it since I ended up 3 behind. But 40 was a basic filler episode. The only thing of substance was a little bit of lead into the plot that would be happening involving Kubar. That was really it. It was one of those kind of basic teaching kids about bullying, but if they try to apply the lesson they learned in this episode in the real world, they'll probably get beaten up worse. And the only part I liked about it was the funny scene where they were doing the training montage, and they, you know, do that classic cracked an egg scene and drank it, but like little kid had a quail egg. I thought that was funny. Other than that, it was trash filler. So, the real action was in 41 and 42, which is where stuff actually started to happen, in which Kubar essentially used Bunglay's copy machine to cause trouble, kidnapping and copying Misao, and using all these manipulation around Genus as well to basically try to get them to fight each other. And he's officially went on his tirade about how Genus destroyed his planet or whatever, and then Genus is like, haha, joke's on you, I knew all along, and I can also go Super Saiyan. And so he went super, and he's all powerful and stuff, and Kubar lost, and he was terrified by his power, and yeah, so it was good stuff. It's kind of a weird situation on 2 different fronts in these 2 episodes, because they were definitely good episodes, but we're kind of in that same territory for me that I was last year with Ninja, where once it starts getting serious, it's too little too late. In terms of, they didn't build up stuff enough or have episodes that meant stuff enough to make me care, where it's kind of like I'm objectively watching this thinking, oh, this is a good Sentai episode, but I really don't care what's happening here because I care so little about the characters and setting. Because of how little they built up. But there was some good stuff here. I wish that Genus, this wouldn't have been his first time out in like the whole series. I mean, it's what, was 41, and from the beginning he hasn't been out. I think they should have done, to maybe almost establish him like a Master Xandrit or whatever his Shinkenger name was, type villain, where he kind of is in hiding but he's not trapped. But like, you know what I mean, where like, he's not out there at all, but he makes one appearance to show, wow, he's a threat. So you could feel his threat. That sounded gross. But they should have done that earlier instead of with less than 10 episodes to go. But still, it made for some cool stuff. Some cool backstabby stuff and plot twists of Kubar planned this, but Genus knew this. Oh, Misao's fake. I think they did another copy once before, but both fake Misaos are like so much better than the real one. And his kidnapping actually meshed into the next episode, which is 42, so it kind of made it for a 2-parter. But it didn't take very long. They basically found him, and he was in the hospital, and here's the thing about Misao. That's another point I wanted to talk about for these 2 episodes, is I've talked about this before, but there's that honest to good potential for this character, and I'm always in conflict with it, because on one hand, I would have liked to just seen a badass Sentai character. We haven't had one of those in so long, and the suit is just perfect for it, and I would have loved to have a cool badass character, because all Sentai characters lately have just been facial expressions or gimmicks, and I just wanted something cool. But the concept of a character that's very insecure is very relatable, insecure with depression, but it was played for a joke for so long, and showed so real little progress that I have a problem investing in it. And this episode had some good stuff for him, but I don't know how much of it I felt invested in, and also how much I feel will stick. At the beginning of 41, he fought against the fake Genus, I think it was the fake one, and he was like really upset and fighting and kind of rash in his fighting style because of his trauma of being manipulated, which is a really cool beat to play because it's, you know, it makes sense. But it was kind of weird because I'm like, well, this is cool. This makes sense. He would be like a mess because of the trauma. But at the same time, I'm like, I want a badass guy, and Misao's just such a whiny toku facial expression. But again, it made sense for what he was going through. And then later in 42, when they're all in the mecha battle, and he wakes up in the hospital and resolves to go help them and not curl up in a ball, I had the hardest time taking the scene seriously where he's motivating himself and talking in his head to the 3 Jumans, because he had, the way his head bandages on, it looked like he was prepping for like Krillin cosplay, so it took the level of seriousness out of it for me. And there was a good, it would have been a good resolution had this character arc been done better, of him at the end saying, I used to be insecure, more or less saying, I used to be insecure, but now I have these friends and I can do this or whatever. And if they would have played this as a longer game where, I mean, they have been, but like where they showed steady progress of him coming out of this instead of, oh man, I can do it, and then next week, I'm not worthy of tomatoes. It's like, no, it doesn't work for me. So this felt like, and this is may just be for me, it might have worked for you better, but for me, it just felt like hollow for me. Like on paper, I'm like, they're hitting good points for a storyline like this if it worked, but it felt hollow for me personally, and I don't know how much is gonna stick. Next week's the Christmas episode. For all we know, next week he won't be worthy of Christmas. The point is that I think there was potential there for actually a really great Sentai character, even if they didn't make him a badass like I wanted, but they had potential to make a really relatable, cool character, and him being a punchline and being so annoying for most of it really kills any emotional impact from it, even though I think that there was some things well done about his storyline in this episode. He's got actually quite a bit of focus, which is kind of crazy. I mean, I know he's a 6, but he's like focus. His main shtick, like his one-note shtick, is a focus a lot. But yeah, so that was a major feature of this episode, and it was kind of funny also in 42, Kubar kind of went crazy and started trying to prove himself back to Genus and like was just causing destruction, and they pointed out to him like, you're upset about him destroying your planet, but then you're destroying other planets, like, isn't that kind of hypocritical? And I never even thought about that. But so yeah, then they defeated him in this kind of cool, trying to think of the name, roll call. It was like a Megazord roll call, so that was kind of neat. But yeah, these episodes were nice. Like I said, I'm not feeling that same feeling when I'm into a Sentai and they start getting real, where I feel really invested and I'm looking forward to the next episode. It felt like very much so going through the motions for me, but it might not be for everyone. But they were 2 solid episodes. I sort of skimmed the preview for next week, but it looks to be the Christmas one, so I'm going to assume it's filler. So we'll see. But I'm hoping, because that's going to be 43, with the exception of that one, because Sentai Christmas episodes are rarely important, that I can remember. But I'm hoping like from 44 onwards, we'll be a pretty good streak for, especially for these videos, because it's nicer to actually have stuff to talk about, like last week's scrapped recording of 3 minutes. I just don't want videos like that. So I'm thinking, or hoping, that there'll probably be a couple more fillers. Not hoping there'll be more fillers, but I'm thinking there'll be more fillers, and I'm hoping that between the endgame stuff and then Q Ranger being new, that we'll have a good stretch of like quality content to talk about in these videos. But yeah, overall, 40. Very average, stupid filler episode, 5.0. And then these 2 episodes, I'm going to give them both a 7.0. They were solid, decent Zyuohger episodes. Here's hoping to less fill in the future. And here's hoping for the 7 billionth time that Misao's resolution to be more confident sticks at least a little bit. So anyway, sorry about the confusion over the release schedule for these, but hopefully after this week's Triple Zyuohger and Double X8, we'll be back on track for next week. So until next time, make sure the Crazy Podcast at writersrangerambles.com, and of course don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Writer, signing out.